She arrived with fear, but the cowboy revealed an incredible truth that changed her life forever. The sun hung low in the Texas sky as Sarah parked her old sedan in front of a worn welcome sign that read Bluewater. She could feel her heart racing like a jackrabbit, pounding against her chest like it was trying to escape. Beside her, Lily was gazing out the window, innocence sparkling in her young eyes, oblivious to the weight of uncertainty pressing on her mother's shoulders. Sarah took a deep breath, the scent of dry grass and possibility filling her lungs. They were finally here. After leaving behind the unbearable tension of urban poverty, Sarah hoped for a fresh start, but lingering doubt clung to her like the summer humidity. At 32, she felt like a worn-out shoe, a far cry from the vibrant woman she once was. With every mile, she had prayed for acceptance, yearning to prove her worth in a world that had written her off as a failure. The diner was a modest establishment, its neon sign flickering in the twilight. Behind the counter stood Jake, rugged and tough, his chiseled features drawn with a look that could shatter glass yet held an undeniable warmth beneath. The moment their eyes met, her heart skipped, then sank. What was she thinking? Here she was, just a single mother whose laughter often turned to tears, and he was a man of this town, rooted in the deep red dirt of Texas. In the diner, time moved with a gentle cadence, the clattering of dishes blending with soft chatter. Sarah tried to smile through her nerves as she served hot meals, her laughter mingling with the aroma of fresh pies cooling on the counter. But as she listened to the locals share their stories, a sense of inadequacy prowled at her heels. They all seemed to know each other, weaving tales of family and friendship that only magnified her isolation. One night, as a storm rolled in, she and Jake found themselves huddled in the empty diner, watching rain pelt the windows like 1,000 tiny fists. There was a quiet moment when their gazes locked, hers filled with fear and need, his, a depth of understanding that made her heart flutter. "We all carry burdens," he said softly, breaking the silence that hung heavy in the air. "You're stronger than you think. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the weeks flew by, she found solace in those words, weaving a fragile tapestry of hope from the threads of shared experiences. But just as she began to imagine their connection blossoming, the tension in town flared. A pivotal town meeting unveiled raw emotions. Accusations flew, defenses raised. Sarah barely had a chance to catch her breath before she realized just how deeply the roots of this community ran. Then disaster struck. The storm that rattled her heart now battered the diner, ripping the roof apart and pouring chaos into their lives. Surrounded by unexpected vulnerability, she found the strength she didn't know she had, rallying the community as they stood together, piecing the wounds of both the diner and their hearts. Now, as she witnessed the fragility of their lives, a question loomed large: could this community that had been quick to judge embrace her? The answer lay hidden, caught in the storm clouds of uncertainty. But one thing was certain: Sarah was ready to fight for her new life, knowing that sometimes the heaviest truths bore the brightest light. The morning after the storm, Bluewater was a patchwork of shattered roofing and scattered debris. Sarah stood outside the diner, the crisp air carrying the scent of fresh rain, mingling with the distinct aroma of wet earth. It felt both exhilarating and daunting to witness the aftermath. The sun peeked through the clouds, streaking the town with soft rays as if trying to console its residents, offering warmth to the chilly remnants of chaos. She adjusted her hair and took a step forward, determination igniting within her. Today would be different. Today, she would forge her place in this community. Picking up a fallen sign, she glanced down the street and caught sight of Jake. He was already hard at work, hammer in hand, mending the diner's defense against the elements. There was an undeniable aura of resilience about him. When he looked up and their gazes met, the corners of his mouth lifted slightly, giving her a flicker of hope. "Hey, need a hand?" she called out, her voice steady despite the fluttering of anxiety in her stomach. Jake set down the hammer and walked over, wiping his brow. "We could use all the help we can get." With that simple exchange, something shifted for Sarah. They moved together, side by side, lifting pieces of twisted metal and patching the roof. With every shingle they replaced, Sarah felt the layers of doubt peel away. The laughter of townspeople drifted in from afar, not the whispers of judgment she had feared, but a shared camaraderie that came from upright hearts rallying together. As they worked, the conversation flowed easily. "I was surprised to see you out here so soon after the storm," Jake said, his tone teasing but kind. "Well, I figured if we're going to rebuild, might as well get started. Plus," she paused, her heart finding the courage to speak, "I can't let you boys have all the fun." Jake chuckled, the sound warm and genuine. "You've got a fighting spirit, Sarah. I admire that." The more they talked, the more Sarah began to understand the rhythm of this community. It wasn't perfect. It had its history, filled with both good and bad, but it was real. As noontime approached, locals gathered to lend a hand, each carrying something: a meal, a tool, or even just a smile. The spirit in the air was infectious, wrapping around her like a soft blanket, inviting her to stay. When lunch was ready, they all congregated around a makeshift table outside, sharing stories of the storm's effects and laughing off the chaos. Sarah could feel her heart swelling at the sight of children playing, laughter mingling with the chatter of neighbors. In this moment, something shifted in her. Jake leaned toward her, his voice barely above a whisper, "You're becoming one of us, you know." Before Sarah could respond, a sudden shriek pierced the air. A child had stumbled, sending the small gathering into motion. Sarah's instincts kicked in, and she rushed where the commotion was, heart racing. She crouched beside the kid, making sure he was all right, her gaze flitting to the parents, worried but grateful. As she soothed the scared child, a realization washed over her. This was her community. Not only did she have the chance to start anew, she could make a difference. But just as a sense of belonging settled within her, a shadow loomed in the distance. A figure she couldn't recognize was approaching the diner. There was something about their stance that sent a chill up her spine. Would this presence threaten the fragile connections she had just begun to weave? The figure moved closer, the mid-morning sun casting an elongated shadow that seemed to darken the day. Sarah squinted, straining to discern the stranger's features. As the figure neared, she felt a jolt of recognition mixed with dread. It was a woman, tall and austere, with dark sunglasses that hid her eyes and a weighty air about her. There was something in the set of her jaw, an unspoken authority that unnerved Sarah. "Excuse me, may I help you?" Sarah called out, trying to mask the unease stirring within. The woman halted, taking a moment before removing her glasses. Her eyes were sharp and intense, surveying the scene of camaraderie at the diner. "I'm here looking for someone." "Sarah, right?" The name struck Sarah like thunder. Suddenly, the joyful chatter of the townspeople faded, replaced by the echo of her heart. What could this woman want with her? "That's me," Sarah replied cautiously, approaching the woman with hesitant steps. The stranger's expression softened slightly, but the gravity of her presence remained. "I'm Clara. I represent the Blue Water Rehabilitation Center." She paused, letting the information settle in the air. "We have some concerns regarding your past." Past. The word hung there, heavy with implications. A kaleidoscope of memories flickered in Sarah's mind, each more troubling than the last. She had thought she was free from it, all the whispers, the expectations, and now, it felt like her old life was crashing down on her again. "What do you mean?" she managed to say, her voice trembling. Clara sighed, her demeanor almost motherly. "I understand you've been issued a settlement to attend our program. Your application, it wasn't just a simple formality. We believe you have the potential to help others through your experiences." Help others? The notion sparked something within Sarah, a flicker of hope intertwined with doubt. But help meant facing her demons again, confronting what she had tried so hard to escape. Jake, sensing the shift in Sarah's mood, stepped in. "What do you want with her?" His voice was steady, but Sarah could hear the protective edge beneath it. Clara turned to him, her eyes narrowing with an authoritative glint. "I believe she has the ability to inspire change, to be a guiding light for those still caught in darkness." Sarah's heart raced. Could she really carry such a weight? She glanced around at the community buzzing with renewed spirit, a place she had started to call home. How could she shatter that illusion? The thought made her stomach twist. "I don't know if I'm that person," Sarah whispered, grappling with the enormity of the offer. Clara stepped closer, lowering her voice. "We all have scars, Sarah. It's what you do with them that matters. You can embrace your past, use it to uplift others who feel lost." The notion ignited a fire in Sarah's belly, but the fear was still there, creeping at the edges of her resolve. What if revealing her truth shattered her newfound belonging? "Just think about it," Clara said, a knowing look crossing her features. "You have a chance to connect, to truly make a difference." As Clara walked away, leaving Sarah standing stunned, Jake placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Hey, it's okay to be scared. But don't forget you're not alone in this." But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that a choice was looming ahead of her. Would she step forward into the unknown, or retreat back to the shadows of her past? The decision weighed heavily on her shoulders, pressing down with a suffocating intensity. And in that moment of contemplation, the laughter from the diner faded into silence, replaced by a new question that lingered in the air: what kind of person would she choose to become? Sarah stood at the diner's entrance, the familiar warmth of the sun now feeling alien against her skin. The weight of Clara's words tangled with the echoes of her past, creating a storm inside her. She sought solace in the faces of the people inside, familiar, welcoming, yet now visiting a part of her that felt raw and exposed. "Hey, you alright?" Jake broke through her thoughts, his brow furrowed with concern. "I'm fine," she replied, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. She knew she wasn't fine. She was at a crossroads, and the fear of what lay ahead rushed through her veins. "It's just everything," Clara said. "It's overwhelming. It's huge, I get it. But you have time to decide," he said, his eyes warm and steady, anchoring her in the moment. As they stepped inside the diner, the chatter and laughter flowed over her like a comforting blanket. But instead of bringing her respite, it only intensified her internal struggle. Each laugh felt impossibly distant, as if a wall had sprung up between her and this community she had started to love. "Sarah!" "Hey!" called a voice from across the room. It was Lucy, one of the waitresses, her smile bright under the fluorescent lights. "Did you hear about the local rodeo coming up? You should come." "Rodeo?" Sarah echoed, forcing a smile. "Yeah. It's going to be a blast." "Everyone's going," Lucy said, her enthusiasm infectious. "You don't want to miss the fun. Plus, it'd be great for you to get out and meet more people." Sarah felt a flicker of interest amidst the dread. She had avoided such gatherings before, convinced that her past would cast a shadow on her new life. But maybe Lucy was right. Perhaps it could help to connect, to breathe in the vibrant life surrounding her. "Yeah, I'll think about it," she said, her voice more hopeful than it had been all morning. "That's the spirit." Lucy beamed, then walked back to her duties, leaving Sarah with a lingering sense of warmth. As she settled into a booth with Jake, the crackle of excitement tinged the air. "What do you think?" Jake asked, his gaze lightly probing. "About Clara? About everything? I don't know." The words came out in a rush. "I'm just so scared. What if I step forward and it all falls apart? What if I can't help anyone?" Jake picked up his coffee and took a moment, considering his words carefully. "You fought so hard to get here, Sarah. You've already changed so much. Faced so much. Maybe this is just the next step. An old memory suddenly surfaced. It was a summer day years ago, vibrant and warm. She had been at a fair, the sound of laughter ringing in her ears as the smell of fried food filled the air. She had watched a cowboy perform on horseback, twirling lassos and filling the crowd with awe. The magic of that moment had made her believe life could be exhilarating, that she could be part of something bigger. Yet fear had kept her tethered to the ground ever since. I feel like I'm just standing still, she admitted, frustration leaking into her tone. I want to move forward, but I don't know how. Jake reached across the table and squeezed her hand. You're not standing still, Sarah. Growth isn't always about movement. Sometimes it's about understanding what is holding you back and breaking free. A rush of gratitude washed over her. No matter her doubts, Jake had always been her lighthouse in the fog. Thanks, Jake. Just then, the entrance door swung open, and a gust of wind swept through, sending a chill down Sarah's spine. The moment she turned, a figure walked in, tall, confident, unmistakable. The cowboy from her memory, now wearing a faded denim jacket and a charming smile. As their eyes locked, something flickered in his gaze. Recognition, perhaps? Her heart raced with anticipation. Sarah, is that you? He called, heading straight towards her. In that moment, she felt a shift, a stirring of hope amidst uncertainty. Could he be the connection she needed, the thread that could weave her past with this new life? What if this is the sign I was waiting for? She thought, excitement bubbling just beneath the surface, but as he approached, she wondered, would their reunion bring clarity, or would it only deepen her struggle? Sarah. It's been ages. His voice was like music, wrapping around her in warm notes of familiarity. She blinked, her heart pounding as memories surged. This was Cole, the cowboy from her past, the one who had made her feel alive in a way she hadn't thought possible again. Cole, she managed, her voice soft, barely above a whisper. He was closer now, and the space between them buzzed with unspoken memories. The aroma of coffee and bacon faded into the background as their gazes locked. Looks like you found yourself a nice little place here, he said, nodding towards the diner. His smile was wide, revealing a boyish charm that made her remember long summer nights under the stars, laughter echoing in her ears. Yeah, I'm trying to. She hesitated, the reality of her life sinking back in. I'm just trying to figure things out. He tilted his head slightly, his expression shifting from jovial to earnest. I heard about Clara and everything you've been doing. That takes courage, you know. Not many would step up like that. His approval sent a rush of warmth through her. She felt the walls she had built around her heart crack just a little. It's scary, though. I'm terrified I'll fail. He stepped closer, lowering his voice as if they were the only two in the room. You won't fail if you keep pushing forward. You've always had the heart for it, Sarah. Don't let fear win. Her breath caught in her throat. In his presence, she felt a flicker of the girl she had been, the one unafraid to chase her dreams. But another part of her held back, wrestling with the thought that perhaps she was supposed to remain a distant memory in his life. Do you remember that summer fair? When you decided to ride in the cowboy competition? He asked, a teasing lilt in his voice. I thought for sure you'd topple off that horse. You had that look of pure determination. She laughed, the sound surprising her, feeling foreign yet familiar all at once. I did almost fall. But I loved the thrill. It was one of the few moments I really felt free. Cole's eyes softened. You deserve to feel that way again. You're stronger than you think, Sarah. At that moment, she realized her heart was not just racing from memories or old feelings, but from something new stirring within her. A desire to reclaim her story, to not only face her fears head-on but to embrace them. What if I told you I am thinking about going to the rodeo? She blurted out, surprising herself with the admission. Lucy mentioned it, and I thought, maybe it could be fun. The smile that spread across Cole's face felt like sunshine breaking through clouds. You should. It's going to be a blast, and I'll be there. It'll be a chance to reconnect with everyone, including the fearless Sarah I remember. His encouragement ignited something within her, a spark she hadn't felt in years. But before she could bask in it, doubt crept back in. But what if it doesn't go well? What if I can't even bring myself to get on a horse again? Cole leaned in closer, his eyes intensely locking onto hers. You will never know unless you try. Remember what we used to say? Life happens outside your comfort zone. Take that plunge, Sarah. Do it for yourself. As she looked into his eyes, she felt the weight of his words settle like a heavy quilt against her skin. It was true, she had been holding herself back for too long. Just then, the diner door swung open again, causing a small bell to jingle. A customer walked in, breaking the moment. Sarah's mind swirled with excitement and doubt. Would she really take that leap? As the noise of the diner faded back into focus, she glanced at Cole, who still looked at her with those steadfast eyes. She felt the stir of hope within her, battling against the fear threatening to hold her back. Okay, she said finally, the word coming out stronger than she expected. I'll do it. I'll go to the rodeo. The joy on Cole's face felt like a rush of wind lifting her spirit higher. But just as excitement mingled with anticipation, she wondered, did his presence truly mean he was back for good or was he just a passing figure, here to shine light on the path she was ready to take? And amidst the joyful chaos of the diner, a new question began to form in her mind. What happens when the past collides with the present in a way she never imagined? The moment hung between them like the sweet smell of blooming wildflowers wafting in the summer breeze. Sarah felt her heart race as she stared into Cole's eyes, a swirl of hope and apprehension dancing within her. She pulled her gaze from him and looked down at her hands, fingers nervously tracing the coffee cup's rim. What if I really do it? She whispered, half to herself, half to him. Cole stepped back slightly, giving her space but keeping that bright smile plastered across his face. You'll never know unless you try. Remember how much fun we had back then? You loved it. The adrenaline, the crowd, the thrill of the ride. It's the same, just like old times. His words were a balm to the raw edges of her fear. Replaying memories of laughter, competition, and late-night talks under starlit skies rushed over her like a wave. But beneath it all, she felt anchored by the weight of doubt. What if I fall? What if I don't belong anymore? Cole shook his head softly. You'll fall, Sarah. But it's in the getting back up that you find your strength. And belonging? That's not determined by the past. It's about who you choose to be in the present. A thought flared in her mind. Maybe this rodeo was not just an opportunity to ride, but a chance to reconnect with herself, to come back alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. I just don't know if I can handle it. The people, the attention. I've changed, she admitted, anxiety threading through her voice. Cole's expression shifted to one of empathy. We all change. But you've got that fire inside you, I can see it. Let it out. No one will judge you for it. As his words sank in, Sarah smiled, hopeful yet terrified. She could almost see it herself racing across the dirt, surrounded by cheers, feeling the power of the horse beneath her. But a shadow of doubt prompted another question. What if I'm just chasing something that doesn't exist anymore? What if people don't see me as I used to be? They'll see you for who you are now, Cole said, his voice steady. And that's who they'll cheer for. Just take the leap. Life's too short to hold back. She finally met his gaze again, the warmth of his faith steadying her spiraling thoughts. Okay. I'll do it. The certainty in her voice surprised even herself. I'll sign up. Cole's grin widened, his enthusiasm infectious. That's the spirit. Just think about it. The rodeo, the community, it will be like coming home. As their conversation brightened, the light from the diner flickered softly, casting shadows that danced like whispers around them. Sarah could feel the vibrant energy of a newfound purpose surrounding her. For the first time in a long while, the world outside didn't seem as scary. She was ready to embrace the challenge, to rediscover the fearless side of herself. Yet, as Cole stepped closer again, his eyes darkened with something she couldn't quite discern. "But there's something I need to tell you." His voice softened, laden with an urgency that made her stomach flutter. "It's something about why I left town, why I came back." Before he could finish, the diner's door swung open again, clattering against its frame. A group of noisy tourists strolled in, tossing laughter around like confetti. The moment shattered, leaving Sarah with a brewing storm of anticipation and concern swirling in her chest. "What were you going to say?" she urged, knowing she might not get another chance amidst all the chaos. Cole reached for her arm, his grip firm yet gentle, grounding her. "We can talk later. Just know, you can always count on me." The words hung in the air, a promise that felt both comforting and unsettling. As they stepped back to let the patrons settle, Sarah felt an unshakable eagerness mixed with anxiety. What truth lay hidden behind Cole's serious gaze? As the familiar buzz of the diner enveloped them, she realized the journey ahead held not just the thrill of the rodeo but the potential for something deeper with Cole. As the chatter rose and the laughter filled the room, a thought whispered in her mind: would discovering this truth change everything? And as she prepared to step into the unknown, a single pulse of doubt emerged. Was she truly ready for the full story he had to share, and how would it impact the plans she was starting to make? The diner buzzed with laughter and the clinking of plates, but within the chaos, Sarah's thoughts spun with a weight she couldn't shake. She tried to focus on the vibrant conversations around her, but Cole's words hung heavy in her mind. What was he hiding? Did it matter now that she was ready to take the leap? Still rooted to her spot, she felt a mix of exhilaration and anxiety bubbling inside her. Life had always felt like a series of choices, some easy, some far more daunting, and that moment with Cole had shifted the course of her path dramatically. "How about we grab our rodeo registration forms?" Cole suggested, breaking through her reverie. His enthusiasm was infectious, a stark contrast to the tightening feeling in her chest. She nodded, striving to push past the weight of uncertainty. "Right. Let us do it." As they walked to the back of the diner where the bulletin board hung, decorated with flyers for events, rodeos, and upcoming community gatherings, Sarah felt a flicker of excitement rise within her. It was an energy she thought she had lost forever. Cole stood just behind her, pointing to a flyer. "See? This is it. The spring rodeo is only 2 weeks away." His eyes sparkled as he continued, "You can get your name on that list, and before you know it, you'll be right there in front of everyone, showing them what you've got." Sarah reached for the pen sitting nearby, her heart pounding against her ribs. This felt monumental, a turning point. Just as she began to write her name down, a familiar figure stepped into her line of sight, a man she had tried to forget. Mark. Her ex-boyfriend, whose presence had haunted her dreams and daily thoughts, now stood in the doorway, eyes scanning the room until they landed on her. A grin broke across his face, one she remembered too well. "Sarah. What a surprise," he called, moving closer with an air of casual confidence that made her stomach churn. His voice was like a whisper of the past, the good and the bad intertwined. "Great," she muttered under her breath, regretting her decision to come to town. Mark left without a word when she made the choice to pursue her own path, and now he seemed to think he could simply stroll back in. "Hey, why don't we catch up?" he offered, stepping too close for comfort. "It's been ages." "Yeah, well, I'm a little busy," she replied, keeping her focus on the registration form, the words blurring as frustration brewed in her chest. Cole's posture shifted. He stepped forward, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "She's signing up for the rodeo, Mark. I think that's more important than whatever you've got to say." Mark's eyes narrowed slightly, but the cocky smile remained. Rodeo? Since when? I thought you were done with all that. I guess you don't know me as well as you thought, she shot back, a newfound confidence surging through her that felt strange but powerful. Cole met her gaze, a mix of pride and support in his expression. She could feel the warmth of his protection wrapping around her. She didn't need to explain herself to Mark, not now. Not after taking her first step toward reclaiming who she was. I think you should leave, Cole said firmly, standing tall between them. The tension in the air thickened, and Sarah's heart raced. She'd taken a leap, and now she was standing on the edge, ready to dive deeper into this journey she had chosen with Cole. What did Mark truly want? And as she locked eyes with Cole, a question settled in her mind: was she ready, not just for the rodeo, but to confront her past with more than just anger? Her fingers hovered over the registration form, her heart pounding with more than just excitement. As Mark's disappointment morphed into irritation, and Cole continued to shield her from the unwanted remnants of her old life, Sarah realized this moment wasn't about what anyone else wanted. It was hers, but what would it take for her to completely break free from her past, and would the confrontation with Mark push her over the edge or draw her back into a world she thought she had outrun? As Mark stood there, tension crackling in the air like a live wire, Sarah felt adrenaline rush through her. She was no longer that girl helplessly tethered to the past. The weight of his gaze, once a comforting familiarity, now felt like a chain binding her to old mistakes and faded memories. What do you want, Mark? Her voice was steadier than she felt. She wanted him to see that she'd changed, that the girl he walked away from was gone. Mark glanced at Cole, sizing him up, clearly annoyed. I just wanted to talk. See how you've been. Is that a crime? Oh, it's a crime to show up after running off and pretending I don't exist, she shot back, her pulse quickening. Cole's hand tightened on her shoulder, an unspoken message of support. Maybe it's time for you to leave, Mark. This isn't a conversation that needs to happen here. Mark smirked, but Sarah sensed a flicker of irritation beneath that facade. You really think you can step in and play hero? This is between Sarah and me. Maybe it was. But she's moved on. Cole stood firm, a silent warrior ready to face whatever ghost lingered in the room. Caught between the two men, Sarah felt the heat of their battle. A potent mix of anger and resolve surged within her. They were not battling for her, they were battling for the past, for a version of her she had long since buried. Stop it, she finally interjected, raising her voice. This isn't about you, Mark. It's about me and what I want. The rodeo is my chance to reclaim my life. Mark's expression morphed into surprise, the smirk falling away. You think the rodeo will fix everything? You think that's who you are now? Honestly? I'm discovering new layers of who I am every day. The truth spilled from her lips before she could doubt it. I might not know what that looks like yet, but I'm not scared anymore. The thrill of her own words tinged with exhilaration captivated Sarah. She stepped forward, feeling the ground beneath her feet with newfound strength. She wanted to prove to herself, and to Mark, that there was courage in vulnerability, in moving forward. You're right, this is between us, she continued, locking eyes with him. But it's not the way you think. I won't hide anymore, and I refuse to let what happened between us dictate my reality any longer. Silence enveloped them. The buzz of the diner faded into the background. Sarah felt all eyes on her, the weight of community around them pressing like a warm hug. She could feel the support radiating from Cole, soaking her heart in a quiet strength. Mark's face betrayed a mix of regret and disbelief. I didn't mean for things to end like this, you know well, they did, she stated firmly. And I need to live with that. I've made my peace, or at least I'm trying to. As she turned her back toward him, it was like shedding a skin she had long outgrown. That was the moment Sarah knew she had truly left the past behind, one step at a time. So, what now? Mark finally asked, a hint of vulnerability creeping into his voice. She glanced back at him over her shoulder, feeling lighter. Now, I sign up for the rodeo. And I make my own choices from here on out. With that, she returned to the registration form, took a deep breath, and again picked up the pen. The future stretched out before her, uncharted yet full of promise. As she signed her name, a sense of freedom washed over her. She didn't have to look back anymore, not if she didn't want to. However, just as she finished writing, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Pulling it out, her breath caught in her throat. It was a message from her mother, one she had hoped to avoid discussing. "Sarah, we need to talk about your father." Her heart sank, the weight of the past creeping back in. Shadows loomed once again, whispering doubts and fears. What new truth awaited her? Would she be able to face yet another part of her life when she was still grappling with the remnants of her past? The message blinked at her, an ominous reminder of a history she had tried to escape. The pulse of the diner faded as Sarah's heart raced, each thump echoing her unexpected fear. She couldn't ignore it, she had run from her father's shadow for too long. "Sarah? You okay?" Cole's voice cut through the haze, drawing her back. There was genuine concern etched on his face, and it anchored her. "Yeah, just something from my mom," she replied, still clutching the phone tightly. "It's about my dad. I thought I was done with this." Mark watched her closely, his earlier bravado replaced by a look of quiet curiosity. "You don't have to talk about it," he offered, surprisingly gentle. She met his gaze, surprised by the sincerity in his eyes, but the vulnerability felt like a trap. "No, I do." Maybe it was time to confront the past, to look it in the face. To reclaim every piece of herself. "I'll be right here," Cole said softly, as he moved closer, ready to support her. Taking a deep breath, Sarah weighed her choices. She could run. Again. Or she could face this, just like she had faced Mark. I need to understand," she said, her voice trembling. "Why now?" Her fingers hovered over the phone screen, her thumb itching to reply, but the words felt weighted. Her father had never been one to reach out without a reason, and that reason had often left scars. "I should go outside," she decided. "I need some air." The moment she stepped into the crisp evening, the oppressive weight of the diner lifted. The sky was a tapestry of deep blues and fading purples, the stars just starting to whisper their presence. She leaned against the wall, her breath forming small clouds in the cooling air. It felt wrong to ignore her dad again, but the thought of reopening old wounds made her stomach twist. "Mind if I join you?" Mark's voice was softer now, and she didn't even turn to look at him. Her heart was too busy battling her thoughts. "Why do you care?" She shot back. The words spilled out sharper than she intended. Because he paused, searching for the right words. "I've been where you are. Facing things you'd rather run from. It's no picnic. And I'm supposed to take advice from you?" She felt anger flare, but beneath it was more fear than she wanted to admit. Mark sighed, his shoulders relaxed as he leaned against the wall beside her. "I know I messed up. But this isn't about us. It's about you and your family. You have to decide whether you want to fight for your future or let the past keep dictating everything." As frustration churned within, Sarah sensed an unexpected connection forming. Was caution against him still more powerful than the honesty that sparked? Because what he said hit her deep. "You don't know what you're asking." Mark turned his head, the night illuminating his features. "I might have an idea," he said quietly, his voice catching. "You can't keep running forever, Sarah." And just like that, she felt the truth of his words. The overwhelming weight of her father still loomed, but maybe what she needed was to confront it head-on. Armed with newfound strength, she clenched her fists, battling the duality of hope and anxiety in her chest. "Why do you come back, Mark? Why now?" Because he hesitated, treating her with the sincerity of someone who finally understood the pain of leaving and not ever returning. I think life has a way of bringing us back to what we need. You're stronger than you think. Or just more scared, she replied, gaze fixed on the ground. Maybe. But scared doesn't mean staying quiet. His words hung in the air, heavy yet inviting. Just then, her phone buzzed again, the alert startling her from the moment. Forcing herself to look, she saw her mother had sent a video message. A sinking feeling settled deep in her gut as she contemplated opening it. What was waiting on the other side? Was it hope or something entirely different? With a deep breath, she clicked play, ready to face whatever truth lay waiting, willing to take that next step into the unknown. The warm glow of the sun melted away the last heavy clouds of doubt and fear from Sarah's heart. Standing with her back to the diner and her front facing a new chapter, she felt like a flower finally unfurling its petals towards the light. Mark's hesitant voice lingered in her mind, slowly replacing the haunting echoes of her past with the steadiness of the present. Do it for yourself, she whispered, feeling the wind pick up slightly around her. As she braced herself, her phone buzzed again with her mother's message burning like a beacon demanding attention. Without hesitation, she clicked it open. Hey Sarah, it's me. I know things have been tough and we've had our differences. But I wanted to show you something. The video opened to an image, a younger version of her father, vibrant and full of life, riding a horse under an azure sky. He looked happy, unburdened by the choices that would later shadow him. This is a ride I took the summer before everything changed. I want you to remember that he loved you, even if it didn't always show. I'm here if you ever want to heal. Please let me know. Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks as she exhaled, her shoulders relaxing. The storm raging inside her quieted, replaced by a gentle resolve. Was it possible to still love him despite the pain he had caused? Could forgiveness be the beginning of breaking that cycle? Sarah? Mark's voice called from behind, drawing her back into the moment. She turned, wiping her face, the remnants of her struggles mixing with clarity. I think it's time for me to face my father, she said slowly, the strength behind her words surprising even herself. I can't run any longer. I owe it to myself. Mark nodded, the flicker of genuine respect illuminating his features. That takes guts. I'm proud of you. The pivotal weight in the air shifted, and with it, Sarah felt the grip of the past loosen further with every breath she took. I'm going to sign up, Mark. I'm ready for the rodeo. It's not just for me to reclaim that thrill, it's a step toward rebuilding the life I want. Mark grinned, his eyes reflecting a moment of realization. You're really doing it. I knew you had it in you. You always were stronger than you let on. Sarah smiled back, her heart trembling with a mixture of excitement and relief. Heat flooded her cheeks, but this time it felt good. It was the fire igniting her spirit, the thrill of possibility, the acceptance of her story just as it stood. Let us get inside, she said, confidence coursing through her. I'm ready. The diner buzzed with warmth as they stepped in, laughter enveloping them like a second skin. Sarah's heart danced to the rhythm of the chatter and joy as she approached the registration table, determination pulsing in each step. Cole looked up, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. You ready? He asked, sensing her shift. With a deep breath, she nodded. Absolutely. Today's the day I take my first step towards healing. Come what may. As she filled in the registration form, the ink flowed from her pen like the release of years of bottled-up anxiety. When she finally signed her name, she felt weight lift as if she were shedding invisible shackles. The exhalation of the diner crowd enveloped her like a warm embrace, a connectedness that felt real and lasting. Laughter echoed all around, a symphony of shared moments blending the past and the present beautifully. This was home. All right, everyone. Let us cheer for Sarah, our newest rodeo rider. Jake's boisterous voice rang through the diner, cutting through the crowd. A chorus of cheers erupted, melting her doubts into echoes of applause. Sarah looked around at the familiar faces: Lucy, Jake, Cole, each one a testament to her journey. She remembered the storm that had once threatened to tear it all away, just as vividly as she remembered the resilience that had brought them through it. The scars no longer felt heavy, they felt like tattoos, marks of battles won. "Thank you, everyone." She waved, heart brimming with warmth as she felt the overwhelming love and support from her community. In this moment, she felt that despite the storms ahead, she was no longer alone. Vulnerability was her strength. Love was her shield. As she approached Cole, he smiled, pride radiating from him. "You ready for the adventure of a lifetime?" "It's already begun," she replied, grinning widely. In that moment, she knew she had found her place not just in the community, but within herself. The story was still being written, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead. This was only the beginning. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm. I want to know how you felt about Sarah's transformation. Leave a comment with your reactions. Don't wait not even one more second. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful story. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel.